Okay, moving to healthy homes and what we need to do to avoid pollutants and then dilute pollutants that are there with ventilation. Choosing healthy building products and furnishings, high priority. There are a whole, many products, low volatile organic compound or VOC paints, adhesives, sealants. We can avoid formaldehyde cabinets. A lot of kitchen cabinets have been made with urea formaldehyde binders that off-gas a lot of formaldehyde. That industry is improving dramatically in recent years, driven by some new standards in California to limit the formaldehyde off-gassing, but it's still an issue, and so there are ways to choose different panel products, different particle board or plywood that has much lower off-gassing. We can avoid vinyl wall coverings, which have a lot of plasticizer in it. The plasticizers are phthalates, which are now shown to be endocrine disruptors. They interfere with natural hormones in our bodies. So using careful selection when we're choosing products can help to ensure a healthy indoor environment. There's some particular classes of chemicals that are in the news quite a bit recently. Halogenated flame retardants that are used to slow down the spread of fire. They add a few seconds of control. Formaldehyde I mentioned. Phthalate plasticizers, a big concern. Bisphenol A, which is used in polycarbonates and epoxies. And then fluoropolymers, which we really know the least about. These are the stain-resistant coatings that are on virtually all carpeting and many other fabrics. So that's an important strategy for avoiding what goes into our homes. There are lots of different labels and certifications that can help us identify products that are safer from an indoor health standpoint. I won't go into what these different ratings mean, but an architect or builder should have some familiarity with these different ratings, so it's a good thing to ask about. The next priority with creating a healthy home is avoiding situations that can cause mold problems in homes. This is the house that we're building where we used strapping on the outside of the walls to provide an airspace or rain screen detail, and that helps ventilate any moisture that gets into the wall system and allow it to escape. And it also prevents moisture from coming in during a heavy rainstorm. There are lots of other strategies, from very simple strategies like a roof overhang. That makes perhaps the biggest difference of anything. A good 1 to 2 foot roof overhang to get the drip line further away from the house. Drainage away from the house so that rain that splashes on the ground will tend to flow away from the house. Moisture detailing and allowing wall assemblies to dry out. And here it's pretty complicated. In the building science community, every 10 years or so seems to change its mind about where we should put a vapor retarder or whether we should add one. So it's something that I need to spend time watching and trying to follow the latest wisdom. And the latest wisdom is to allow drying potential, not to add these polyethylene vapor barriers that can trap moisture in wall and ceiling assemblies. There's some other practices, venting moisture sources, key importance. So bath fans and quiet bath fans. Noisy bath fans aren't going to be used. So if we can put in high quality, quiet bathroom ventilation so that when someone's taking a shower, the moisture can be directly vented out. And then things where we don't want to introduce too much moisture into the house. Greenhouses are great, lots of green plants, they look nice. They can, in some situations, introduce more moisture into a house than you want. Up in my neck of the woods, a lot of people dry firewood in their basements. Not a good idea, because all that tons of moisture gets released into the house and can cause decay and mold. I like to avoid combustion gases, and here I part ways with a lot of my friends. I'm not a fan of gas cooktops and gas ranges. Those are essentially unvented combustion that's happening in a house. The new generation of induction cooktops, such as this Bosch product pictured here, are more efficient than conventional electric cooktops. And they also offer the instantaneous control that cooks really like with gas, where you can very precisely control the temperature and it gets very rapid heat up and cool down. There's some other strategies. A popular heating system in homes are these unvented gas appliances, gas heaters or gas fireplaces. They claim they're 100% efficient. They aren't 100% efficient. They're 99% efficient, 99 point something efficiency, but they're releasing some unburned hydrocarbons into the house. After they've been working a while, they're not going to burn as efficiently. They might produce more unburned hydrocarbons. But even if they're working perfectly, the combustion products of fossil fuel combustion are water vapor and carbon dioxide. So these unvented gas fireplaces introduce a lot of moisture vapor to a house. I recommend avoiding them. They should be outlawed. They're outlawed in Canada, but they're so popular that the appliance manufacturers have successfully lobbied against bans in this country. Being really careful with the connection between an attached garage and the house to prevent gases from the car from getting into the house. So then once we avoid pollution sources in a house, we want to look at ventilation to introduce fresh air and get rid of pollutants that might be there. And ventilation systems, mechanical ventilation systems are the way to do that. We can reduce the energy penalty of ventilation by using what's called a heat recovery or energy recovery ventilator, an HRV or ERV. And this basically transfers heat from the outgoing to the incoming airstream. In the house that we're building, again, I'm writing about this stuff, so we used this really high-tech, high-performance European heat recovery ventilator. This is made in Switzerland by a company called Zehnder, and they use these small diameter ducts to deliver fresh air and to pull down stale air, and these are thin enough to fit directly into wall cavities and be positioned. Here they're being installed above an access ceiling system. Water, a key issue today, and a lot of you in this area learned about it in 2007 when there was a severe drought. Lake Lanier that serves Atlanta got to within 30 days of running out of water. In the West, they're used to dealing with drought, and they have very deep reservoirs. This is Lake Mead that currently is about half full, but it holds a huge amount of water, years worth of supply. So when they see the water levels dropping, they can institute programs and curtail demand. In the East, we tend to have much shallower reservoirs that don't have as much capacity. And we're just not as used to dealing with water shortages because we get a lot of rainfall here. So it's an important issue to keep in mind. There's a great resource, the U.S. Drought Monitor that you can find online, and you can download a weekly drought map. This was last week showing where there's drought in the U.S. And this area in yellow or red is suffering from drought. Pretty big chunk of the country. The red is severe drought. There's not any drought going on in the southeast right now. Unlike 2007, you can see over here where there was this severe drought in the southeast. Strategies for water conservation. We know about that. It's using water efficient toilets, plumbing fixtures, appliances like clothes washers and dishwashers. In my home, we've had this horizontal axis clothes washer for years. I have a Bosch dishwasher, which is Bosch makes the most water efficient dishwashers in the world. We've been very happy with that. It's also very quiet, about the quietest made. We can also capture water, and this is right out the window here. You can look at that when you leave, but it's a tank for capturing rainwater. And they have a great little feature here with a drip from this coming into a bowl for dogs. A nice little feature.